This morning in studio, Jodi Szutu is with us. Jodi, welcome here.
Thank you.
We're excited to talk to you about the grand opening for the Greg Enns Memorial Park. Is it exciting that the grand opening is finally here?
Yes, it is. It was supposed to be here last year, so we're excited that it's finally here this year.
And we were talking about the process of putting this together, and last year there was a bit of a delay.
Yeah, with the drought, we had planted a few trees, and then we were going to plant more, but we just had to stop because we just couldn't with the water supply issues. Like the city had to scavenge to try and find water, even for the annuals that were already in ground, and then they had to stop watering those. So we just pulled the plug and said we're waiting, and thankfully people were understanding. So
it's going to be an exciting day on Tuesday for the grand opening, where we get to learn a little bit more about what the Greg Enns Memorial Park means and what's all there. Talk about putting the park together and the planning for that.
Okay, so yeah, I'd say about a year and a half ago, at one of my first meetings, I asked what was being done in that space, anything being done around the big hockey stick, because it seemed a little lonely out there. And then a few days later, I guess Margaret had talked to somebody, and they said, yeah, sure, why don't you come up with a plan and show it to us in, 2 or 3 days. So she told me, and I had 2 or 3 days to try and come up with something. Thankfully, the horticulture executive ladies came up with a few ideas, like the path for the skating loop and putting some artwork in, or like sculptures of some kind, and like a shelter, maybe a fire pit, things like that they started coming up with. So that was very helpful. And then I did the plant design of all the various trees and shrubs. It was awesome.
That is cool. And so you brought up the fact that the hockey stick looked lonely, and little did you know what you started.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's so exciting that it's finally here. And when people do walk through the Greg Enns Memorial Park, maybe give a little context of what they're seeing.
Okay, so what you'll see is, I'll start with what I did, the plants. We aim towards more of like a winter theme interest planting. That would include things like plants that retain their color for winter, like barberries, some of them hold them, and junipers, evergreens, ones that hold their berries or their flower heads, like the whole hydrangeas, and the trees will just thankfully just get big and beautiful and shade the area and be wonderful. And then you will notice a shelter. The shelter's awesome. It's great for winter, putting on your skates, and it's near the fire pit. The fire pit is really fantastic. And of course the sculptures. We can't forget the sculptures. Andreas Hubert did a great job. Those 3 sculptures, at first I wasn't quite sure like how they would look in comparison to the hockey stick, but they're working out really well. They look fantastic there.
It does all look fantastic. The hockey stick is lonely no more.
No, it's not. It looks like it's finally in its home.
And so it's really awesome that we have the park there, and we have the Horticulture Society taking care of the park. And you mentioned that a lot of the stuff is aimed at winter. So are we going to see it in its final form in winter time, or?
Hopefully. I know last year we had some challenges with maintaining the ice, which is totally understandable. We didn't have the path quite completed. It was kind of rushed trying to get that in before winter, just so we could get some sort of ice down. And then, with like the freezing cold, and then the rain, and then the slush, and then the cold and the storm, it was just impossible to try and keep that little circle going over winter, which is fine. So hopefully we'll have another shot at it this winter. And yeah, we did manage to go skating on there a few times with the kids, and it was nice.
That is awesome, and we're excited to see it tomorrow at the grand opening. Thank you so much, Jodi, for coming in this morning.
Okay, thank you.